come on, Tash, how long have you wanted this for? And they kind of reminded me of my goals and my motivations. And I thought, I'm just going to apply to a few jobs just to give me that sense of security, you know? I applied to some jobs, sure. I sent out CVs. I felt better. And as I was waiting for them to come in and I got some responses, I thought, you know what? I don't want an interview. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to continue on this path, even if it's risky. And I got to a point in my career where I had reached as far as I could go as an English teacher with an academy. And when it came to performance review time, I proposed to them to have more flexibility and also an increase in salary. And they weren't very interested in this flexibility. I wanted to do more remote work so I could travel a bit more. And when they said no, I also said no.
Did you start from zero, that there was a time that you didn't have any clients, nothing was coming in, that you also at the point that you felt that, oh no, if this might not work and I might end up broke, or I might go back and having a job myself again, or working back for my own, for my previous employer? Did that ever happen?
So I've made two shifts. So the one I spoke about with teaching, so academy to freelancing, and then from freelance teaching to content creation and being on YouTube and this big project that I've got. The first one, I had students right away because teaching English is a high demand profession. But going to content creation, it's been a bit more of a struggle, I would definitely say. So there was a few points over the last 6-7 months where I thought, okay, I might need to look for a job to kind of hold myself up. But I think anytime that would happen in the last few months, I got this fire in me, you know, and it kind of pushed me to keep going. It's okay. Come up with some ideas. How can you provide value, but at the same time monetize it so that it works for you? How can you be true to yourself while also having a sustainable lifestyle? How can you do all of these things? So actually taking a lot of courses, investing in myself. I know forking out that money at first is a bit difficult, but once I did that, I got a return. And so now I've got this course, I've got several different streams of income, and they kind of work all together so that if one fails, I can rely on another one.
I like what you said about creating different streams of income, because not all of them will actually work out, but having a couple that are firing on all cylinders will benefit you. I think will benefit you a lot. And in your journey being an entrepreneur, doing what you do right now, what was the biggest, I would say, failure that you ever encountered? And the reason why I'm asking that is I think there's a lot of people who may be watching this that have encountered failures, and they also would want to quit, or there's doubt already that I think I should go back to my job, or I think that entrepreneurship is not for me, especially when you see when you see the stats, 90 plus 9 out of 10 businesses fail in the first 5 years, that it's harder to carve out niches. What's your word of encouragement and advice for people watching this?
Just a few months ago, I had nearly run out of money. I had almost no resources. So I sat myself down, I drew out a plan, and I literally just worked 12-hour days for about a month and brought myself back up. So I've really got to drive that point home. Like, believing in yourself and staying motivated is pretty much the key. And this is a little bit embarrassing actually, but I'm going to tell you anyway. When I was at my lowest point, I actually recorded myself. No one in the world has seen this recording, but I told myself, like my future self, you will never get to this point again. Sometimes touching bottom or failing is okay. And it's okay to fail because you're never going to do it again. So just because you fail, it's not a big deal, because you learn from that lesson and you become a better person, a better entrepreneur after that.
That's something very good, and I'd like to unpack that more. You mentioned about working longer hours. Was there something that actually changed? Because a lot of people might hear this and then they say, "Oh, I'll just work longer hours also." But I've seen also people do that, but they didn't get the results that they wanted. Was there something that changed as you're also working harder? You got more results. What was the difference from the past few months where income wasn't there versus you working longer and harder also, and then the income was there? Because I'm a firm believer in hard work. If you're not as talented, you're not as smart, you don't have connections, one way for you to be able to make it is to outwork everyone else. But there's a point also where working hard will, there's a turning point where it becomes, you give it it creates either a larger market, or you give more value, and then the money starts piling in. What was it for you?
Personally, on my own journey, it was, I finally started asking for help. So I finally started outsourcing different things. So if I needed some help with marketing, okay, I asked my friend who knows about marketing, okay, what can I do to make this more efficient? Because I do agree, working long hours isn't necessarily going to give you what you need, right? You need to be efficient and smart about it. So that was the big factor, because I was very much so a very independent person. I wanted to do everything myself. I don't know what point I was trying to prove. But as soon as I started asking for help, things just started to flow more. And I think I was more open to lots of other ideas. And I just knew that I had to make this happen. And so I needed to find a way to do it.
Did it come to a point that you also felt discouraged, that you wanted to just quit when you were at rock bottom also, when things were not going? Because one of the reasons why I asked that, because when people talk about the great entrepreneurs from Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, they always look at the success, but they don't look at the failure. And I want to ask this right now, because maybe 10-20 years from now you become this big tycoon, and then they'll reference this video also, that this is where it started. Did you ever feel that you wanted to quit also, or what was going through your head at that point when it was so hard?
100%, definitely. I thought, okay, that's it. Like, I'm throwing in the towel. There's no way. And I talked to my friends, some of my support system, and they said, come on, Tash. How long have you wanted this for? And they kind of reminded me of my goals and my motivations. And I thought, I'm just going to apply to a few jobs just to give me that sense of security, you know? I applied to some jobs, sure. I sent out CVs. I felt better. And as I was waiting for them to come in and I got some responses, I thought, you know what? I don't want an interview. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to continue on this path, even if it's risky. And right now I can say it's the best decision I've made.
And I think that's what you're hardwired to be an entrepreneur. And it's, to people watching this, there's nothing wrong also if you don't want to be an entrepreneur. It's not a one size fit all strategy, because I've seen a lot of people pushing people, you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to do this because these are the ones that really get financial freedom. But you have to do what also works for you. There are people that they really like the uniformity of a job. They really like reporting to a boss. They don't want steering their own ship also. But for you, from what you've been saying, you're a person that grinds it out. You have a grit, that you don't like security, but you like freedom more. There's really a big difference between security and freedom. And freedom also, it takes risk. It takes doing the things that are hard also. I want to end this at least this portion of the video with this question. In your experience in business, what are the things that you've learned that you want to impart to people, that if they're starting their own business, regardless if it's selling a product or selling a service, what are the things that you want to impart to them?
It's not just having a product. It's not just having a service, right? There's actually so much more to it. And it's something that I'm learning at the minute. There's also marketing. There's so much admin behind it. So actually, I would say before you dive head first, as I did, maybe do that extra bit of research so that you can have that sense of security that you will miss if you jump into entrepreneurship. Because once you have kind of a background of marketing, which I think is so important for any service, any product that you have, you need to know how to market. You need to know how to sell yourself, how to make things sustainable, but at the same time have that value for other people, right? So knowing as much as you can before you take the leap, I would say, is the most important. Obviously, you will learn as you go along in this journey, but that's something that I wish I had done from the get-go, was learned a little bit more about that.
Got it. And that's very interesting because I hear a lot of people, oh, I'm very good making a cupcake. I can make this dessert, or I can make this. I'm one of the best making pasta. But if people don't know about what you're selling, what you're serving, then you may be the best at that particular viand meal dessert. But if no one knows about it, no one's gonna buy it. And no one. That's why I don't know if you know this. I've written books, and when you make a book, um, when you go to bookstores, it's never best writing author. It's best selling author, because it's not always the best person who writes that always wins. It's the one that gets sold the most. And if no one knows about what you've written, then no one would also buy it as well. So there, well said. It's thank you so much for being part of this. You have a webinar, you have a course that I know people will benefit from. Can you tell them more about it also? And I'll put links below, but can you share what is it and what can they learn from the webinar as well?
For sure. It's very exciting. It's something that I've actually just launched. In the last 8 years, I've moved to several different countries, to several different continents. And I've built this course on how to move abroad, because I do believe in this freedom, and I do believe in living your own adventure. And at the beginning, I made loads of mistakes, and I don't want anybody who wants to move abroad go through the same thing. So I've created this course, which is a guide that brings you through the entire process to ultimately building and living your dream life abroad. So it goes from finding your why, what places are applicable to you, to all of the researching, planning, visas, budgeting, how to deal with your job, what to do about that, all the preparations that go into it. And then, of course, my favorite, building and living your life.
Amazing. I wanna ask this. I'm just curious, and at least people get to have a taste of maybe what you'll share there. What's the biggest misconception that people normally don't foresee when they move to a certain place? What's the thing that they thought, this is so easy, but when they're there, it's not the easy. It's not the easiest. It's maybe second question. Favorite city from all of the countries that you've visited?
Oh, love it. Brilliant. First of all, it's got to be the bureaucracy, because every single country has a different system, right? You think, okay, yeah, I'm going to move to Canada. I recently had a friend of mine, she moved to Canada from the Philippines, actually. And there was so much bureaucracy involved. It was a bit of a headache. So taking the guesswork out of that and doing all your research and planning before that really, really helps. And in my experience, there hasn't been a country where it's been easy. I think they just make it a little bit difficult for you. So having a lot of patience really, really helps. I love the world. I mean, come on.
Putting you on the spot, but
I know.
make this more controversial.
I would have to say it's between Medellin, Colombia, and Lisbon, Portugal. Yeah.
But you're in Barcelona.
I know. At the minute, I'm in Barcelona. Yeah.
Got it. I was in Taiwan. I think it was around 2017 Christmas time, and then Bitcoin was around 19,000-20,000 at that time. It kept going up. Then I was already warning people that this might it might crash already. It might go down. And true enough, a few months after that, it started to crash from 20,000 to around it went to a low of around 3,000 first quarter of 2018.